I was 15 years old, standing in the rain at a gas station 2 hours from home, when my father looked me in the eye and said, "You're not our daughter anymore." My mother didn't even turn around. They got in the car with my sister, locked the doors, and drove away. I had $23 in my pocket, a dead phone, and no idea what I'd done wrong. My name is Claire Bennett. I was 15. The middle child. The one who got decent grades, stayed out of trouble, and never asked for much. My older sister Vanessa was 17. She was the golden child. Perfect grades, captain of the debate team, early acceptance to 3 Ivy League schools. My parents worshipped her. My younger brother Tyler was 12. He was the baby. The one who could do no wrong. And then there was me. I wasn't exceptional. I wasn't the favorite. But I thought I was loved. We were driving back from Vanessa's college tour weekend. She'd been accepted to Yale early decision, and my parents had spent 3 days celebrating her, touring the campus, taking endless photos. I'd spent those 3 days carrying everyone's bags and being told to be quiet and not ruin this for Vanessa. On the drive home, we stopped at a gas station in the middle of nowhere. It was November, cold, raining. I went inside to use the bathroom. When I came out, my parents were standing by the car, their faces twisted with anger I'd never seen before. Vanessa was crying, and that's when my father said it. "Get away from this car. You're not coming with us." I stared at him, confused. What are you talking about?" My mother stepped forward. Her voice was ice. "Don't pretend you don't know what you did." I genuinely had no idea. Vanessa was still crying, clutching her phone. "How could you, Claire? How could you say that about me?" I looked at her, then at my parents. "Say what?" I didn't say anything. My father grabbed my arm. Not hard but firm. "We saw the messages. You sent them from your phone. Don't lie to us." "What messages?" I was starting to panic now. My mother pulled out her phone and shoved it in my face. On the screen was a group chat. Vanessa's friends from school. And there under my name were messages I'd never sent. Messages calling Vanessa a fraud. Saying she cheated on her sets. Saying she only got into Yale because our parents paid someone off. I felt my stomach drop. "I didn't write those," I said, my voice shaking. "I didn't send those, that's not me." My father's grip tightened. "It came from your phone number, Claire. Your account." I tried to explain. "I don't know how, but I didn't do it. I swear." "Vanessa, you know I wouldn't." Vanessa looked away. That's when I knew. But I couldn't prove it. My parents didn't want to hear it. My father let go of my arm and pointed toward the road. "You can find your own way home. Maybe that'll teach you some respect." And they got in the car. Tyler looked back at me through the window, his face scared and confused. But they drove away. I stood there in the rain watching the taillights disappear. The rain was coming down harder now. My jacket was already soaked through, my jeans heavy and cold against my legs. I stood there for what felt like an eternity, waiting for them to come back. Waiting for my father to realize this was too far, too cruel. Waiting for my mother to tell him to turn around. But the road stayed empty. Cars passed by occasionally, their headlights cutting through the rain, but none of them stopped. None of them were my parents. I pulled out my phone. The screen was wet, but it still worked. Battery at 8%. I had maybe 1, maybe 2 calls before it died completely. I tried calling my mom. She answered on the 3rd ring. "Mom, please. I didn't do it. I don't know how those messages got sent, but it wasn't me. Please come back." Her voice was cold. Colder than I'd ever heard it. "You humiliated your sister. You tried to destroy her future. I don't know what's gotten into you, Claire, but you need to figure it out. We'll be home. When you're ready to apologize, really apologize, you can call us." "Mom, I'm 15. I'm alone. It's raining. I don't have any money." She hung up. I stared at the phone, my hands shaking. I tried calling again. It went straight to voicemail. I tried my dad. Same thing. The battery was at 5% now. I had one more shot. I called my aunt, my mom's sister, Linda. She lived an hour away. Maybe she could come get me. Maybe she would listen. She picked up on the 3rd ring. "Aunt Linda, it's Claire. I need help. My parents left me at a gas station and I don't know what to do." There was a long pause. Then her voice came through, disappointed and distant. "Claire, your mother called me 20 minutes ago. She told me what you did to Vanessa. I can't believe you'd be so cruel." My chest tightened. "I didn't do it. I swear I didn't." She cut me off. "I think it's best if you work this out with your parents. I can't get involved." And she hung up. My phone died 30 seconds later. I stood there in the rain, holding the black screen, and I realized something that made my chest feel hollow. No one was coming. No one believed me. I walked back into the gas station. The clerk, a middle-aged man with tired eyes and a stained apron, looked up from his magazine. "You still here?" I nodded. "Can I just stay inside for a little while? Until someone comes for me?" He shook his head. "Store policy. Can't have loiterers. You gotta go." "I'm 15. I have nowhere to go." He looked uncomfortable, like he knew this wasn't right but didn't want to get involved. "Look, kid, I'm sorry but I can't help you. There's a diner about 2 miles up the road. Maybe try there. 2 miles. In the rain, in the dark, I had no choice. I started walking. The highway stretched out in front of me, a black ribbon cutting through farmland and forest. There were no streetlights, no houses, just trees and darkness and rain. My shoes were soaked through within the first 10 minutes. My socks squelched with every step. The cold seeped into my bones. Cars passed by occasionally, their headlights blinding, their tires spraying water onto the shoulder. I kept my head down and kept walking. I thought about Vanessa. About the way she'd looked at me when I came out of the bathroom. The fake tears. The performance. She'd always been good at that, playing the victim, getting sympathy, making everything about her. But this was different. This wasn't just manipulation. This was sabotage. She'd logged into my account, sent those messages, and let me take the fall. And she'd done it knowing exactly what our parents would do. She knew they'd believe her. She knew they'd choose her. After about a mile, I heard a vehicle slow down behind me. My heart leaped. They came back. But when I turned around, it wasn't my parents' car. It was a truck. Old, rusted, with a dented bumper and a faded paint job. It pulled up beside me and stopped. The window rolled down. A man maybe in his 60s leaned over. He had a weathered face, gray beard, kind eyes that crinkled at the corners. "You okay, miss?" I didn't know what to say. I didn't know if I should trust him. Every stranger danger talk I'd ever had flashed through my mind. But I was cold, soaking wet and terrified. And something about his face, something about the genuine concern in his voice, made me want to trust him. "I'm trying to get to a diner, up the road," he nodded slowly. "Joe's place. That's still a good mile and a half, hop in. I'll give you a ride." I hesitated. He must have seen it, because, he added, "I'm not gonna hurt you, kid. I've got a granddaughter about your age. I wouldn't want her walking alone in the rain like this." "Name's Frank Miller. I live just up the road. You can call someone from the diner if you need to." Something in his voice made me believe him. Maybe it was desperation. Maybe it was instinct. But I got in. The truck was warm, the heater was blasting, and there was an old flannel blanket on the seat. Frank handed it to me without a word. "You're soaked through. Wrap up." I did. The warmth felt like a miracle. We drove in silence for a minute. Then Frank said, "You want to tell me why you're walking alone on a highway in a storm?" I didn't know where to start. But something about him, maybe the fact that he was a stranger, maybe the fact that he'd stopped when my own family hadn't, made me want to tell the truth. So I did. I told him everything. About Vanessa, about the messages, about my parents leaving me at the gas station, about the phone calls, the dead battery, my aunt hanging up on me. He listened without interrupting. His jaw tightened a few times, but he didn't say anything until I finished. Then he said, quietly, "That's not right. That's not how you treat a kid. Not ever." We pulled into the diner parking lot. It was a small place, the kind with a neon sign that flickered and booths with cracked vinyl seats. But it was warm and dry, and that was all that mattered. Frank parked and turned to me. "You hungry?" I hadn't eaten since breakfast. I nodded. "Come on then." Inside, Frank ordered me a burger, fries and hot chocolate without asking what I wanted. When the food came, I realized how hungry I actually was. I ate in silence while Frank sipped his coffee and watched the rain through the window. When I finished, he said, "You got proof you didn't send those messages?" I shook my head. "No, my phone's dead. And even if it wasn't, I don't know how to prove I didn't do something." He nodded slowly, thinking. "Your sister sent them, didn't she?" "I think so. She knows my password. I gave it to her a few months ago when my phone was broken." Frank pulled out his phone. "What's your parents' number?" I told him. He dialed. My dad answered on the second ring. Frank didn't introduce himself. He just said, in a voice that was calm but had an edge of steel, "This is Frank Miller. I'm sitting here with your daughter at Joe's Diner off Route 9. She's soaking wet, freezing, and scared out of her mind. You left her at a gas station with no money, no phone and no ride. I don't care what she did or didn't do. That's child endangerment. You've got 30 minutes to get here, or I'm calling the police and Child Protective Services. Your choice." Then he hung up. I stared at him, my mouth open. "You didn't have to do that," he shrugged. "Yeah, I did." We waited. Frank ordered more coffee. I nursed my hot chocolate. The diner was nearly empty. Just us, a trucker in the corner booth, and a waitress who looked like she'd been working a double shift. The rain kept coming down outside, drumming against the windows. 28 minutes later, my parents walked in. They looked furious. My father spotted me in the booth and marched over, his face red. "What the hell do you think you're doing, calling some stranger to threaten us?" Frank stood up. He was taller than my dad, broader. There was something solid and immovable about him. "I didn't threaten you. I told you the truth. You abandoned your 15-year-old daughter on the side of the road in a storm. That's a crime." My mother stepped forward, her voice sharp. "She humiliated her sister. She needed to learn." Frank cut her off. "She needed to learn she's a child. You're the adults. There's no lesson in abandonment. There's just cruelty." My dad tried to argue, but Frank raised a hand. Here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna sit down. You're going to listen. And you're gonna figure out if she actually sent those messages or if someone set her up, because I'm willing to bet she didn't do it. My mother scoffed. And why would you think that? Frank pulled out his phone. Because while we were waiting, Claire and I did a little digging. He showed them the screen. It was a screenshot of the message thread, the one that had my name on it. But Frank had done something I didn't know how to do. He'd checked the metadata, traced the IP address. This message was sent from an IP address that doesn't match Claire's phone. It matches a different device, a laptop, registered to this address. He turned the phone toward my parents. It was our home address. But the device wasn't mine. It was Vanessa's laptop. My mother's face went pale. My father stared at the screen, his mouth opening and closing like he couldn't find words. That's impossible. My mom said, but her voice was weak. Frank's voice was steady. It's not. Your older daughter sent those messages from Claire's account. Probably logged in on her laptop, sent the messages, then deleted the evidence from Claire's phone. It's not hard to do if you know someone's password. I felt my chest tighten. Vanessa knew my password. I'd trusted her. My father's jaw clenched. Vanessa wouldn't. Frank didn't back down. Call her. My dad hesitated, then pulled out his phone. He dialed. Vanessa answered on the second ring. I could hear her voice, faint and chirpy, through the speaker. Hey Dad. Are you guys almost home? My father's voice was tight, controlled. Vanessa. Did you send those messages from Claire's account? Silence. Then, smaller, I don't know what you're talking about. My father's voice cracked. Vanessa, we have proof. The IP address, your laptop. Did you do it? Another silence, longer this time. Then, so quietly I almost couldn't hear it. She was going to ruin everything. My mother gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. My father's face went red, then white. What? He said. Vanessa's voice cracked on the other end. She told me she was going to tell people I got extra time on this SAT because of my anxiety diagnosis. She said it wasn't fair. That I didn't deserve Yale. I panicked. I thought if I made her look bad first, no one would believe her. I stared at my parents, my voice breaking. I never said that. I never even thought that. Vanessa started crying on the other end, her sobs loud and dramatic. I thought she was going to ruin my life. My father hung up. The diner was silent except for the rain and the hum of the refrigerator behind the counter. My mother sat down in the booth, her hands shaking. My father stood there staring at nothing, his face a mixture of shock and shame. Frank looked at me. You okay? I nodded, but I didn't trust my voice. He turned to my parents. You owe her an apology. A real one. My mother looked up at me, her eyes red and wet. Claire, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. I thought. I cut her off. My voice was calm, but I felt something cold and sharp inside me. You didn't think. You didn't ask. You didn't listen. You just left me. My father finally spoke, his voice hoarse. We were angry. We thought you. I interrupted again. You thought I was disposable. He flinched like I'd hit him. You chose Vanessa over me without even asking if I did it. You didn't call to check if I was safe. You just left me. My mother reached for my hand across the table. I pulled it away. I don't know if I can forgive that, I said. Frank stood up, giving us space. I'm gonna give you folks some privacy. But Claire, if you need a place to stay tonight, I've got a guest room. My wife's a retired teacher. She'd be happy to have you. I looked at him. This stranger would show me more kindness in 2 hours than my parents had in 15 years. Thank you, I said, and I meant it. My parents drove me home that night. The car ride was silent. No one spoke. Tyler was already in bed when we got home. Vanessa was waiting in the living room, her face streaked with tears, her eyes red and puffy. She looked at me as I walked in. Claire, I'm so sorry. I didn't think they'd actually leave you. I just wanted. I stopped in front of her. You didn't think. You just acted. You lied, and you let them punish me for it. She started to cry harder, reaching for me. I stepped back. Don't touch me. I went to my room and locked the door. I heard my parents talking downstairs, their voices low and tense. I heard Vanessa crying. I didn't care. I lay on my bed, still damp from the rain, and stared at the ceiling. And for the first time in my life, I realized that my family wasn't safe. That love wasn't guaranteed. That sometimes, the people who are supposed to protect you are the ones who hurt you most. The next morning, my parents sat me down at the kitchen table. My father cleared his throat. We talked to Vanessa last night. She's going to apologize to her friends. She's going to tell them the truth. I looked at him. Okay. My mother added, her voice careful, and we're going to family therapy, all of us. We need to fix this. I didn't say anything. After a moment, my father said, Claire, we're sorry. We should have listened. We should have believed you. I nodded, but I didn't say it was okay. Because it wasn't. It's been 3 years since that night. I'm 18 now. I graduated high school with honors. I got into college on my own merit, with my own scholarships. My relationship with my parents is better than it was. We went to therapy. They apologized, A lot. But something changed that night. Something broke that I don't think can ever be fully repaired. I learned that some people will choose their pride over your safety. Some people will believe a lie because it's easier than facing the truth. And sometimes, the people who save you aren't the ones you expect. Frank and his wife Margaret stayed in my life. They came to my graduation. They helped me move into my dorm. They became the family I needed when my own family failed me. And I learned that love isn't about biology. It's about who shows up when you're standing in the rain.